Hello friends, in the series which we are doing on the making of contemporary India from 1950 to 1990s, today we will talk about the JP movement. JP movement, as it was popularly called, was initiated by Jayaprakash Narayan and others, those who were associated with him. And JP movement was a major activity in the context of the political developments in India in 1970s, as we see that how the situation which had unfolded after independence in 50s and 60s, and by 70s there was some kind of a realization that the aspirations of the freedom movement and the aspirations which were associated with the freedom, they were not being fulfilled that way, and the immediate concerns, socio-economic concerns and the economic situation, the way it unfolded also led to a kind of a situation where JP movement was launched. So when you talk about the kind of references, one can see Bipin Chandra et al., India after independence, Ramchandra Guha, India after Gandhi, Inder Malhotra, Indira Gandhi, Tariq Ali, the Nehrus and the Gandhis, and Indian dynasty. So these are some of the readings which one can refer when one is talking about the period of the Jayaprakash Narayan movement launched by Jayaprakash Narayan. So it was popularly known as the JP movement, and how it was talking about the idea of total revolution or Sampurna Kranti, and how it was also being criticized by the people, those who were the critics of the JP movement, that how it was trying to go beyond the constitutional means. So in the course of our discussion, we will talk about the basic tenets or the features of the JP movement, the various kinds of groups, those who were associated with the JP movement, how it was an important phase in the context of the Indian politics, and whether the consequence which was in the framework of the emergency which was initiated by Mrs. Indira Gandhi. So we will try to see those some of the aspects of the JP movement, and when we tend to understand the JP movement, then we see that how the popularity of Indira Gandhi over a period of time, especially in 1973, it began to decline. And as I told you that the expectations of the people, they were not being fulfilled the way they aspired, the kind of changes which will come after the independence of India. And we also find that apart from the issue of poverty and economic inequality, we also find that the tension which were there with regard to the issue of caste and the class oppression which was happening, they also did not diminish to the extent which they should have been. So in a way, we find that before the imposition of the emergency in 1975, there was a lot of instability in the Indian society, and this instability from the economic point of view, from the social point of view, got reflected in the political affairs as well. And when we talk about the economic situation, we find that how the unemployment figures, they were rising, and the prices, they were also increasing. So because of which we find there was an inflationary situation in the economy. And when this kind of a situation was there, then we also find that how the foodstuffs, etc., they were they were scarce in nature, and this created some kind of a crisis. We also find that 1971 was a period when war with Pakistan was fought, and the emergence of Bangladesh could also be seen. And we find before that so many Bangladeshi refugees, they came to India, and nearly 10 million of them, 1 crore, and how they were also responsible in that sense that how the grain reserves, they got depleted. And the cost of the Bangladesh war, which was fought by India, could also be seen in the pressure on the economy. So we find that how the foreign exchange got drained because of India's engagement in the war, and how the monsoon rains, they also failed for 2 years consecutively during 1972 and 1973. which created that kind of a situation, that situation of terrible drought in many parts of the country. And we find because of this there was a shortage of food grains, and how the prices they also increased. So this further created the inflationary pressures. And we also find that how when this kind of a situation came, then the power generation also dropped, and because of which we find there was also a decline in the agricultural production at that point of time. And we also see when this kind of a drop in the agricultural production was there, we also see that there was a demand, that there was a decline in the demand for the manufactured goods, because of which we find the industrial recession and the rising cases of unemployment. So that was the economic situation, the way it was unfolding in India. And we also see that in 1973 the notorious oil shock, when the prices of the crude oil they were increasing fourfold, and because of which the prices of the petroleum products and the fertilizers they also increased. So there was a lot of pressure on the economy from different areas, be it from the Bangladesh war, or for that matter the economic situation of India. So it was creating a lot of pressure, and we find that because of which the foreign reserve they were also getting drained, and which in turn increased the budgetary deficit, and the economic recession also got deepened because such kinds of economic pressures on the economy. And in 1972-73 alone we see that how the prices of the products they increased by nearly 22% around this period. And as it is known to all of us that how the price rise or the inflation, it affects the various sections of the society, whether they are from the poor section or the middle class. All of them they are affected by such kind of pressures which are there because of the rise in the prices of the essential products. And when the prices will rise, then definitely there will also be some kind of a scarcity of the essential articles of consumption, as it happened during this particular period. So economy was in a lot of pressure during this period, and we find that in many parts of the country there were a number of food riots, and the economic recession, unemployment, price rise, and the scarcity of goods. All of them they created a situation which led to large scale industrial unrest during this period, and because of which we find that in different parts of country a lot of strikes they took place during 1972-73, which finally culminated in an all India railway strike in May 1974. So this all India railway strike was also an important development, and it lasted for around 22 days, but it was finally broken in the end. So we find that because of which the popularity of Mrs. Indira Gandhi, it also got eroded during this period, and there was a situation where there was a deterioration in the law and order situation during this time, especially 1974-75, and strikes, student protest, and popular demonstrations, many a times we find that they turned violent as well. And I remember one of the films called Mere Apne, which was made during this period, directed by Gulzar, which was also talking about this theme of students protest and how students they also got involved in such kind of a situation. So we find that how the different fields of culture and different fields of culture, be it cinema or literature, they also were able to project the image of those particular times. And we find that how universities and the colleges they got closed during this particular period for a very longer period of time. And another important incident was in May 1973, when we find there was a mutiny in UP by the Provincial Armed Constabulary PAC, which clashed with the army which was sent to discipline it. which led to the death of over 35 constables and soldiers. So this created a situation of anarchical kind of a situation where the different wings of the government they were fighting amongst each other. So that was a kind of a situation which emerged during this particular period. And we find that when one is seeing the situation from the economic point of view, that how the situation was deteriorating, and how to in a way improve the situation. So some kind of a leadership which was firm in nature, which was clear headed from that point of view was needed, but that was not happening at that point of time. And we find that how as a political party Congress was declining, and it was proving to be incapable of dealing with the political crisis which was happening in the states and at the grassroots level. So that was one of the concerns which we find in the 1970s, and thereafter we see that how when the emergency was imposed, and thereafter how Congress was also routed in the elections. And we also see that how the capacity of the government to redress the situation, it was seriously impaired by the growing corruption which was happening in the most areas of life. And there was a widespread belief that the higher levels of the ruling party and the administration they were also involved in this widespread corruption as well. And we also find that the whiff of corruption touched even Indira Gandhi when her inexperienced younger son Sanjay Gandhi was given a license to manufacture 50,000 Maruti cars a year. So we find that how the ruling dispensation at the highest levels when Indira Gandhi's son Sanjay Gandhi was given this kind of a license to manufacture Maruti cars. So it was being discussed in the media circles, it was being talked about, and there was a lot of talk that how the higher levels of the ruling party and the administrators they were involved in the corrupt practices. And it was also seen, this incident was also seen as one of the instances where you will find that corruption was happening at different levels, and because of which we find that how different social groups they were not very happy with the Congress, though the poor they continued to support the Congress, but they were not very active in their support, rather they were more passive in nature. The middle classes, because of the kind of price rise which was happening and the issue of corruption as well. Rich peasantry, because of the threat of the land reform. So the different sections of the society, that they had their own reasons to not to support the Congress, how they were getting in a way detached with the kind of policies which were being followed by the Congress, how they were feeling discontented, how they were being not in a way in a kind of a situation where they could support the Congress. And we also find that other sections of the society like capitalist, how because of the idea of socialism when it was being talked about, the nationalization of banks which happened in 1969 and coal mining as well, and the anti-monopoly measures which were taken during this time, how these people, those who were the capitalist section, they turned against Congress and Mrs. Indira Gandhi. And we also find that how the desperation of the opposition parties, it also contributed to the undermining of the political system. And this kind of a situation was also reflected in the cinema of those times. I talked about one of the films called Mere Apne, which was in a way showing the issue of the strikes, how the students they got involved in this kind of a situation where they were not there in the university and the college classrooms, rather they were trying to handle the situation in the streets. So we find that such kind of a situation, it got reflected in the mirror of the society, as cinema is being called. And some of the films which were made during this time, they were trying to project that kind of a situation. And even the angry young man image of Amitabh Bachchan, which got a boost in 1970s, was as a result of the disenchantment with the policies which were being followed, where a lot of unemployment levels they got increased, and we find that there were a lot of inflationary pressures at this point of time. And we find that how different political parties, those who were not in sync in the context of their ideological positions or the kind of programs which they wanted to follow. So one thing which united these parties was the anti-Congressism, and we find that if you see individually, then these parties, they were not in a position individually, or whether they came in some kind of a collaboration as well, that they can pose any kind of a political challenge to the Congress, because they had been earlierly defeated, and how in the general elections of 1971 and the state assembly elections of 1972 they had been defeated and downsized by the electorates, and individually, in a way, they were not in a position to pose any kind of a challenge to the Congress. And we also see that how they were not ready to wait till the next elections to test the popularity these parties had, and they decided that whatever the kind of consequences, irrespective of the consequences, to blindly support any group or movement in any form against the government at center or in a state. So they were ready, the opposition parties, they were ready in that way to support the rival factions, and we find that how the kind of changes which were happening in the economic and the political spheres, they were creating a kind of a crisis where we find that two popular movements in Gujarat and Bihar against the faction-ridden Congress governments and leadership they provided to Bihar movement by Jai Prakash Narayan. So we find that such kind of a situation where opposition parties they realized that the way situation was unfolding, and how two important states, Gujarat and Bihar, we find that how in Bihar JP movement was started, and how it spread to other parts of India as well. And in the context of Gujarat, we find that in 1974, when the popular anger over the rise in the prices of food grains, cooking oil and other essential commodities, it all exploded in cities and towns of state in the form of a student movement, which was soon joined by the opposition parties. And we find that for more than 10 weeks, the state faced the virtual anarchy with strikes, looting, rioting and arson, and efforts to force MLAs to resign. So that was the kind of a situation which was unfolding in Gujarat, and we also find that when such kind of a situation unfolded, then the government wanted to control this kind of a situation, and it resorted to oppress them in any way, and all sorts of lathi charges and firings, such kind of measures they were being taken by the government. And we find that by February the central government was forced to ask the state government to resign and suspend the assembly and impose president rule in the state. And we find that because of these kinds of measures, we find that the way situation was unfolding in Gujarat in March 1975, when such kind of an agitation was continuing, and how Morarji Desai he in a way initiated the fast unto death, and the Indira Gandhi dissolved the assembly and announced the elections in June 1975. So we find that June 1974, and we find that the agitation which was started by the students in Bihar in March 1974, and in the context of Bihar, how the students they started with the gherao of the assembly, they repeatedly clashed with the overactive police, which led to the death of 27 people. and moreover, as in Gujarat, the opposition parties, they quickly joined forces with the student agitators. So when we try to see or try to compare the situation with Gujarat, where such kind of developments had taken place, and Indira Gandhi had to announce the elections in March 1975, that the elections will be held in June 1975. So that kind of a situation was unfolding there, and in Bihar as well, such kind of a movement was there, and how the students, they were in a way clashing with the police beginning from March 1974, and how the political parties, they also wanted to take the advantage of such kind of a movement as well. And when we tend to understand the situation in Bihar, then Jayaprakash Narayan, who was popularly known as JP, he came out of the political retirement and took over the leadership and gave a call for total revolution, or a struggle against the very system which had compelled almost everybody to go corrupt. So JP came out the political wilderness, and he was ready to in a way lead the movement, and he in a way wanted that the Congress should resign in Bihar and the assembly should be dissolved, and he asked the students and the people to put pressure on the existing legislatures to resign and paralyze the government, gherao the state assembly and the government offices, and to set up the parallel people's government all over the state and pay no taxes. So this is what was demanded by JP. And we also find that how Indira Gandhi was not ready to concede, and she in a way was very firm in terms of refusing it, and she did not want the dissolution of the assembly. And there was a situation, we also find that it may spread to other parts of India, and also may go to the issue may also pertain to the central government. So we find that how JP decided to go beyond Bihar and to organize a countrywide movement against the widespread corruption and for the removal of the Congress and the Indira Gandhi, who were basically seen as a threat to democracy, and they were being portrayed as the fountainhead of corruption. So that is the way the situation was unfolding in Bihar, and we find that how JP was touring the entire country, and how large number of people they came and listened to JP when he was talking about the political situation in India, especially in the context of Delhi and the other parts of northern India. And there was a lot of support from the different sections of the society, especially the students, middle classes, traders, and a section of intelligentsia. All of them, they supported the JP movement, and they wanted JP to take the lead in this context. And we also find that how all non-left political parties which had been defeated in 1971, they also supported JP, and they saw that how a popular leader like him would be able to have that kind of a credibility, and he could become some sort of an alternative to the Congress. And JP in turn also realized that without the organizational structures of these parties, he could not hope to face Indira Gandhi either in the streets or at polls. So this is what he realized at this point of time, and we find that over a period of time the fervor of the JP movement, it also declined, and many of the students, those who were supporting JP, they went back to the classes, and the rural and the urban poor in Gujarat and Bihar, they were also not very supportive of JP. But we find that there was a lot of criticism of JP for the extra parliamentary approach which was followed by his movement, and Indira Gandhi challenged JP to test their respective popularity in Bihar as also country as a whole in the coming general elections, which were due in March 1976. And JP accepted this kind of a challenge, and his supporting parties, they decided to form National Coordination Committee for this purpose. So we find that there was some kind of a criticism of JP for the extra parliamentary approach which was followed by him, and both Indira Gandhi and JP, they could have taken their issue to the public by in a way when elections could have been held a bit earlier. And we find that there was a twist to the Indian politics by judgment on 12th June 1975 by Justice Sinha of Allahabad High Court on an election petition by Raj Narayan convicting Mrs. Gandhi for having indulged in corrupt campaign practices and declaring her election invalid. So we find that this kind of a conviction meant that she could not seek election to the parliament or hold office for 6 years and therefore continue as PM. And Justice Sinha had dismissed more serious charges against her, but had convicted her of technical and trivial, even frivolous offences against the election law. And Mrs. Gandhi refused to resign and appealed to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court would hear her appeal on 14 July. Justice V.R. Krishna Iyer, the vacation judge of Supreme Court, created further confusion when he decided on 24 June that till final disposal of her appeal by the full bench of the Supreme Court, Mrs. Gandhi could stay in office and speak in Parliament, but could not vote in it. So this was the kind of a situation which was unfolding at that point of time. We will continue further on the JP movement. We will talk about the other aspects of the JP movement in our next lecture. Thank you very much.